Hey, well, today I'm going to talk about how to actually work on healing your nervous system and through that heal chronic diseases. Hey, I'm Melissa with The Simple Life Wife, and I make videos on natural and healthy living. If you're into that, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. And over the past couple of years, I've been making videos on, I like to do homesteading type things, so that's always there, and I like to do videos on that too. But I have had this chronic disease, which I'm not going to go into the details of, and you'll find out why later, that I have been attempting to overcome naturally. And what I've been doing for the past, since early May, or actually it was even in April, so May, June, July, August, September, like almost 5 months. I've been working on my nervous system. The idea is that your nervous system is out of whack if you have some sort of chronic thing going on, chronic health issue, and it can look like anything. If you have any chronic health thing going on that just keeps coming back, it would fall under this category of your nervous system is out of whack and needing to be healed. And I was introduced to this thought back in April. It's now October. And I joined up with a program called Limbic System Rewire. Your limbic system is like all with your nervous system, your vagus nerve. It's all just different terminology for the same idea, that you need to calm down. Basically, your subconscious is going kind of crazy. And it could be from like childhood trauma just kind of built up and finally it just went bang. Or it could just be like maybe you had a surgery and your body just went bang. That's the best terminology I can come up with. But that's how it seems to me. Like if you go on, there's a popular I don't know what to call it, program called DNRS. I don't know if they started all this or what, but dynamic neural retraining system. So if you look up DNRS testimonials, I'll put a couple of testimonials down below. It's not with DNRS, and you will see how far this can take people. And I'm talking about things like fragrance sensitivities, any sensitivities to foods, celiac, any type of digestive issue going on, any Crohn's, all the things, Lyme, especially any autoimmune thing that definitely falls under this category. It's basically your nervous system not feeling like you're under attack and it is attempting to let you know you need to take care of your body. Basically, it got messed up somewhere along the way. That's how I view it. But you really, if it's the buildup of the trauma over time, you really do need to stop and calm down and convince yourself that you're safe, you're okay. You need to do that work. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about in this video is how nervous system work is one of the hardest things you can actually choose to do to heal your body, but I think the most long-lasting thing. Most of the people that end up in this nervous system work, the programs, they have tried everything. And because you have to really search to find these programs, I feel. I don't know why, because they are effective and you're going to find so many really cool testimonials online. But so you go to the regular doctor, you're not going to hear about it usually. Even though this is scientifically backed up, that you can change the way the neurons fire up in your brain and actually change the fight or flight pattern. And over time, it's usually about a year or so. It's different for everybody, of course. Usually it takes about a year or so to, in my mind, it's like convincing your body that you're safe. And so over time, your body will calm down all of those stress responses. That's basically what all of these chronic things are. They're stress responses, and you will be healthy again. And there are different techniques to doing this, and I'm going to go into them so that you can be aware of like what the different programs approaches are. They're all different ones. I don't know, Gupta. I saw one called ANS. I don't know. And Bria Katrin is she has a program, and I am currently in one of her programs, and so we'll talk about that in a minute. But the way that you go about calming your nervous system in order to heal from the chronic diseases so that they don't come back. Because if you've followed me over the past year or so, you'll see that I was able to get out of a flare, but the flares come back. And so the program that I used, it gets you out of flares, but if you don't keep taking the supplements, if you don't have a very strict diet and keep your stress extremely low, if you don't do all these things, you're going to go right back to a flare. So it's not actually healing the issue, which is a problem. You want the issue healed, which is what nervous system work does. And a lot of times, the more that you become sensitive, like you take things out of your diet, or different smells, the more your nervous system or your subconscious, whatever, thinks that these things are dangerous, and it becomes more and more sensitive to things, to the point that a lot of people that end up in the nervous system programs, they can't even live in a house anymore. They have to live in a car because of all the smells and molds and sensitivities. They can't even be around their kids anymore. They definitely not their dogs, things like that. They can only eat like 2 foods, and this is real life stuff, and their bodies are so inflamed all the time. And of course, it presents in everybody differently, but that's a very common story that you'll come across, is someone becomes so sensitive over time, even more and more and more. And so I'll put a couple testimonials down below and you'll see what I'm talking about. But okay, so how do you go about healing a chronic disease through healing the nervous system? There are different ways. We have been to a nervous system chiropractor, which I've made a video about, and they're known for like helping ADHD and all the different things actually that I'm talking about. But I did my son and my daughter and I in it, and maybe it helped a little. That's kind of my view on it. Maybe. So I would say that's something you could and it was very expensive. So if you have the money, I would say that's something you could tag on just for an added help. But I would say that's not, I hate to say this because I just really liked the ladies that did our chiropractic work, but I just don't think that that's gonna nip it in the bud. And that's one of those things you have to go every week for the rest of your life. Can you imagine how expensive that's gonna be? Or else you're gonna go back. So like go back to how you were before. So again, maybe if you need a little boost in your nervous system work, but that's not what I would recommend. I do recommend trying out one of the programs because they're going to walk you through and teach you how to do it. The one I did is very expensive. I didn't realize that at the time. I didn't even pay full price. I just paid a portion of the price. Even that was very expensive. So I really like the program, and I would recommend it if you have the money. It's called Limbic System Rewire. I can put a link down below. It's a Christian program, which is a major plus. DNRS is not a Christian program. And I will tell you that I think these principles are very Christian. I think, because as I'm going to tell you in a minute what you do, but basically you are telling your body not to fear. It's mind work. It's renewing your mind. It's what God tells us to do in the Bible. So even though these non-Christian programs are using these techniques and seeing results, I still think they're Christian based, even though they don't recognize that. So it's awesome to make it into a Christian worldview when you are approaching the programs. So I did a Christian program, and it's a good program. there's another option that's cheaper that I've come across since, and it's Bria Katrin, and I'll definitely put a link to hers. She has the Gateway to Healing program, and it's significantly cheaper than the other one, and she definitely approaches it from a Christian worldview. So that's awesome. I recommend. That's what I would recommend for you. It's so much more cost effective, and I think she's great in bringing in a Christian worldview to it. And the program I'm doing with her right now, it's for when you're further in your journey and you need some extra support and help, which I think everybody actually does when they're on this. Like I said, it takes at least a year usually. I mean, you'll be seeing some results along the way, and depending on your issues, maybe you really will have it resolved before a year. But that's just the general idea. I think Bria Katrin, she said her stuff took about 14 months, so it's different for everybody, but it's a major discipline, and however long it takes isn't necessarily how disciplined you are. It's just kind of how out of whack your nervous system is. It just takes time. It's basically like you're soothing your soul every day. You're soothing, well, not your soul, your spirit. I don't know, it's kind of confusing, the wording that she uses, but basically there's your soul, and your soul's always good with God. If you're a Christian, you're always good. And then you have your spirit, which is kind of like your mind and your thinking patterns, your conscience. And then you have your body, which is literally your body, your fleshly part. And so you're trying to line up your mind and your body with your soul. And that's the work that you're doing, is renewing your mind so that your body will come in, and your mind will come in tow with what your soul already knows, because your soul is getting straight fed from God, and what you learn in the Bible, your soul knows that as a Christian. So anyway, you're just aligning these things is the idea. So for me it'd be really hard to do a non-Christian program trying to think through it all, but it's totally up to you, because those programs are effective too. So let's see. The things that you do, and this is what's hard. It sounds easy, but it's hard. And this is what everybody should be doing in the whole wide world. We're told any Christian is supposed to be renewing their mind in God. And we're told to not worry or fear. Everybody is. And so I absolutely think everybody could benefit from doing one of these programs. I don't think it's just the chronically sick. And so often people, especially Christians that do these programs, I think they find that they continue doing a lot of the steps or the things that I'm going to tell you about, because it's so good for your spirit. It's good for your body, So in a lot of ways, I find that, so visualizing is one of the things you do. And I find that visualizing for me has become almost a form of prayer sometimes. And so I often do some of my visualizing time like after I read the Bible, because it just helps me open up what I've read more, and just to experience God in a deeper way. Okay, now I'm getting a little too deep because I haven't explained what visualizing is. And by the way, I have a visualization playlist. I think I can link that down below, and I will if I can. So as I talk about this stuff, just know that I have different things that I've talked about already on my channel that you can check out. And I use that playlist myself all the time. I listen to those things. So one of the main things that you're supposed to do for at least an hour every day, is visualizing. Basically, this is using your imagination to think of a happy place, because your brain, when it's in fight or flight, it wants to go negative all the time. It always wants to think of fearful things. It wants to think of what could happen and all the things you have to do. And, you're always like a little squirrel, like afraid of what's, and I didn't realize I was like that until I did the program, and they have you like rate yourself on this. I mean, there were like 80 or 90 different things I had to rate myself on, like 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, of how I felt like I was doing on, like, body scanning is one of the things. Like, I used to do this all the time. I would feel my lymph nodes and feel if they were swollen all the time. I didn't realize I was doing this, and they were swollen. And when I stopped body scanning, because I was told to stop doing these things, my lymph nodes went down. So another thing that you're not supposed to do, I think I'm really jumping around here. I was talking about visualizing. Let me get back to that. So you can make up a story in your mind and you can find out what that's like, because I have lots of videos on my visualizations. You are trading that fear. Anytime you feel triggered to be afraid of what your chronic issue is going, and maybe it's not always fear, but just you feel triggered in some way in your health, you're supposed to stop right then, give it to God, distract yourself, be happy, laugh. You have to make yourself laugh sometimes. And visualize, and maybe just for 15 minutes at a time. So maybe do it 4 times a day or something, to get up to your hour. And so you can totally make it up, or it can be something from your past that you remember. And maybe you can't remember anything right now. That was totally how I was to begin with. I was just a blank slate. My mind, for some reason, just remembered everything from the past, I think, as a threat. And so it was just like blank. And anytime I could remember something from the past, it was just kind of like bad, and I didn't, something unpleasant. And so I just kind of didn't want to think about it. But I find the more that I'm trying to visualize, sorry, I have a hair in my face, visualize things from my past, I'm able to remember more and more of the good details, because you only want the good things in your visualizations. And my memory is improving. Like, it is literally opening up things that I didn't remember before. I think there are certain things that are happening already for me. Like, I know my nervous system is getting soothed because certain things are already happening. I can remember things in my past. I can appreciate things, not just see it all as either I have no idea what happened, I can't remember, or I have a lot of negatives. And so you can think about what you would like to happen in your future and think about that. Oh, it's so fun, actually, to use your imagination. How many of us get the chance, to do that? Of course we have the chance, but make time to do that. So when I'm thinking about what I want to do for my visualizations, I'm like, what do I feel like doing? I feel like going to a chocolate shop and getting an amazing array of chocolates and go sitting on a bench and perfect weather. It's fall, all the colors, that's what I feel like doing. So I do a visualization on that. So it's getting your brain to a happy place. And eventually you're going to convince your brain that in your nervous system that you are safe and you're happy. And you are literally telling yourself that all the time. That's one of the things you have to do. I am happy, healthy, and full of life. I'm strong. You're going to say it till your body believes it and makes your body that way. I know this sounds kind of like manifestation or hokey things, but it's more of a science-backed thing. If you keep telling your body that you're sick and you want to die, or you're going to die, oh, I just don't have hope, your body is going to come in line with that. And that's just a fact. But if you're telling your body, I have a reason to live, your body's going to try to go along with that. So I hope this doesn't sound hokey or anything, because I really don't think it is. Okay, and some other things that make this, I would say the thing that makes all of this nervous system work hard is that you are going against what you feel like doing. So you're not supposed to be negative or complaining or think negatively about anybody, and I never realized I was like that until you start going through the list and rating yourself. I'm like, oh, that's kind of embarrassing. I'm glad no one sees this list. But here I am telling you all about it. But or argumentative. So if someone does something that you don't like your spouse, that you just normally would just kind of snap about, and maybe it doesn't sound like it, you could. Anyway, you cannot do those things in this program. You should always be pleasant. Which sounds good, but when you get down to the nitty-gritty, are you actually being a pleasant person? And letting things slide, giving grace. And when my kids are driving me batty, I've also learned that stress is actually kind of sinful. Like stress is not necessary in life. Things can happen in life, but you don't have to feel stressed. That's the idea. Even if my son screams in my face, whatever it is, I have little kids. I do not have to feel stressed. I don't have to give rise to it. I can stay here in my happy spot because I am good with God. Like I'm good. And even though his little souls or his little heart's in turmoil right now, we'll work through it. I'm challenging those thoughts constantly because stress is fear, basically. Bria Katrin taught me this. She's awesome. And fear is basically the opposite of trust. So if you get down to, because that's been my huge thing. I would get major headaches and stuff from stress. And that's something I'm working on still. But I've seen improvement in that too. Is when I'm feeling just stressed and I just hold it here in my muscles. I know when I'm feeling stressed. And I realize, okay, this is being fearful. I just need to calm down and trust. Like trust is such a big thing that I didn't realize I wasn't doing before. Okay, there's so much more to this, and obviously I'm not running a program here, so I'm not going to cover it all, but I think those are the big things. And um, another big part, I have so much that I want to say about it. It's exciting to me. You're supposed to have fun and laugh a lot, and you're supposed to be in a happy spot. That's where you're supposed to be at and to heal. And so it's actually kind of a fun program to do. You're thinking, even sometimes you make yourself laugh even when you don't feel like it. And eventually you will feel like it. I'm telling you, if you Google or on YouTube, search laughter yoga, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, but it's going to make you laugh. I mean, when someone starts laughing, you're going to laugh. It's just the way it is. I have no idea why. I had it on and my son came in and I was feeling like really ridiculous about it. I was like, oh, I'm kind of laughing, but it's kind of embarrassing. But my son came in and he was upset about something, and he came in and he started laughing. We started laughing together. There's something about laughing together that just releases endorphins and, I don't know, oxytocin, all the feel-good hormones. And that's what you need. So just do things that make you happy, basically. Obviously God honoring, but the idea is have fun again. A lot of us, when we're in fight or flight, we're not having fun anymore. Everything is upsetting and stressful and fearful. And you know what's interesting is, since I've been doing this program, of course I've recognized in myself, it's a major fight all the time to not go negative, but in other people that I never even saw before as negative or fearful. And I see it, and the way that they talk all the time is negative or fearful. Sometimes it sounds like a prayer request. Sometimes it sounds like they're just really empathizing with you or being really kind. But when you get down to the root of it, it's really negative and fearful. So that has been good for me to recognize too. Not that you can't be real. The Psalms are just full of, I'm going through the Psalms right now, full of King David being real. But you have hope, and the hope is never gone, and you don't sit there and dwell on it. Even in a lot of the Psalms, I've noticed when David is talking about how, oh, someone's chasing me and it's hard and kind of like, where are you, God? Usually, even the one I went through today, half the latter half of the psalm was about, but, and then it goes into all the big hopeful talk about how good God is, and you make my enemies under my feet. And so it's still, yes, you can acknowledge what's going on, but there's still a huge hope and trust in God there. And so let that be your major talking point. You can recognize what's going on and let that be your cry to God. But yeah, that's my thought right now anyway. There was something else along that line that I wanted to mention. Hold on. Well, another thing to mention is that I've mentioned this before in videos, but just how the natural healthcare world, functional doctors and all that, they tend to be, I'm not saying they're useless, but they tend to be kind of fear mongering. Like they don't actually help in the end because they do all these labs and you find out, oh man, I'm so messed up because I went through all this. Oh, and I have all these food sensitivities. I need to get rid of all that stuff now. And fear, 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 fear. And what does it accomplish but to make you even sicker, I think, because it's just a ball of fear, and to make you buy tons of expensive supplements. I just don't see that that is the best way to go. It's my thinking. But the main point of these programs is freedom. So, yes, go to whichever kind of doctor you want. Eat whatever kind of food you want. Be God glorifying in it. Don't just feed yourself junk. But yeah, now and then, have a bonbon. Eat non-organic. I'm just totally changing my thinking. It's God made us to be free, and Satan wants to take authority in our life. And don't give it to him. God has not given him authority in your life. So stop being fearful in the way that you live your life. You're going to be okay. I think there's so much more that I'm going to think of after I post this video that I wish I had said. So I guess I'll just make more videos if that's the case. But like another thing that we're supposed to do is just being mindful of wherever you are, which means like when you are outside with your kids and they're playing, just stop and play with them. Watch them play. Don't be looking at your phone, looking at a book all the time. Not that those things are bad, and you can do that sometimes, but just being more mindful. So having, like, our brains weren't necessarily meant to multitask. So having one thing going on at a time, and enjoy like nature. Just notice the little things that God does, how the leaves move, how you feel. Oh, okay. So that brings me to another thing I was wanting to say that you are not supposed to do. You don't really pay too much attention to how your discomfort, because chronic illness comes with discomfort. And I forgot to mention, even like cancer and stuff like that is falling into this category of things that can be helped by calming your nervous system. I'm not a health professional. I'm just telling you what I've learned. So yeah, definitely do your own research. But so if you're having digestive issues, that's a good time. Like if you're starting to have some pain or discomfort, uncomfortable things going on, whatever it is, and you're starting to feel fearful, that's a good time to visualize or to pray, but pray in a hopeful way. Don't pray talking about all your problems. So stop talking about all of your health problems. We're not allowed to talk about our health problems in the program. So if I try not to tell too many people that I even have health problems, because then they usually want to talk about it whenever they see me. So just ignore it. I guess ignoring is, you're never encouraged to ignore, but you just choose a more hopeful outlook. Like it's not going to give me fear anymore. Sure, it's there, but it's a passing cloud and it'll get better. I have hope that it'll get better. So I'm going to set my mind on higher things. And that's not to say that you don't do what your doctor tells you to do. If you have certain medicines or something, or certain diets, whatever, that's fine. And I'm definitely not telling you not to do what your doctor tells you to do. But just the idea of, Lord willing, eventually that stuff is going to disappear because you won't need it anymore. Okay, I'm going to end with this. Along with the doing fun, happy things, I have found that worship music on the Christian radio station around here anyway, songs that I just kind of didn't care for before, I'm like clinging to now as I think about the words. And I find that I really appreciate worship music a whole lot more. I don't care if it's a hymn or just one that comes on the regular Christian pop station. Yeah. So there have been some great praise songs that have really spoken to my soul, because they're just telling you to trust in God and how good God is, and my soul is going to praise. Even if I don't feel like, even if, whatever, even if the enemy's attacking me, I'm going to praise God, because that's my biggest weapon. That is a song I have loved lately by Brandon Lake. I think it's called Praise. So look it up if you have time. It's a fun dancing song. Okay. I'm going to finish this off now. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.